The alphabet of identity versus the one identity God created. I am not a body, I am free, for I am still as God created me. That's either true or it's not. And if it's true, then everything else that follows, every letter, every label, every fragmentation, is a distraction from it. LGBTQIA2S+ is not the problem. Neither is the church that attacks it. Neither is the culture that defends it. The problem is the belief in bodies, the belief in division, the belief that identity can be splintered, legislated, defined, categorized, oppressed, or celebrated. In the dream of separation, nothing is more sacred than identity. But in truth, God did not create identities. God created identity, singular, changeless, eternal. The one identity shared by all the sonship, formless, genderless, bodiless. Let's take a look at what the acronym actually says, not to attack anyone, but to see what's underneath it. Lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, intersex, asexual, two-spirit, plus. These are not sins. These are not mistakes. These are not wrong, but they are misidentifications. Just like straight, CIS, Christian, atheist, man, woman, or child of God, if by that we mean a form that God created. To say I am gay or I am trans is no different, metaphysically, from saying I am a banker, I am a mother, or I am a Republican. All of it is egoic storytelling. All of it is identification with the dream. None of it is what God created. But isn't it inclusive? The ego asks. Isn't it good to see people and validate their experiences? Sure. If you believe the body is real, then it's kind to decorate the prison cell. It's compassionate to acknowledge the pain within the dream. But that doesn't make the dream true. There's a difference between kindness in the illusion and truth beyond the illusion. A Course in Miracles never says, ignore the suffering. It says, recognize it isn't real. Because what God creates cannot suffer. And if it suffers, it must not be what God created. Now here's the trick. The ego will use both exclusion and inclusion to make the body real. The church says, you're wrong for being gay. God doesn't love you. The counterculture says, you're valid. You were born this way. God made you this way. Both sides are trying to anchor identity in form, and both are wrong, because God did not make the body. Chapter 6, Section 1 of A Course in Miracles says it plainly. The body is a limit imposed on the universal communication which is an eternal property of mind. The body is a limitation, a distortion, a fence around the infinite. To say I was born this way is to say I am a body. To say you were born wrong is also to say you are a body. But to say I am not a body, I am free, is to throw the whole game out. It is to say I am as God created me. Not as my parents named me. Not as my chromosomes arranged me. Not as society affirmed me. Not as my feelings told me, as God created me. And God doesn't create parts. God doesn't create confusion. God doesn't create bodies. God creates being. God creates spirit. And spirit doesn't fit on a form, much less inside a bathroom category. Two-spirit, asexual, intersex, panromantic, grey sexual, polyamorous, demi-non-binary. The labels keep expanding, not because people are crazy, but because the ego has to keep splitting. That's what the ego does. It divides, divides, divides. Then it makes you fight for your division like it's your salvation. But truth does not multiply. Truth does not add letters. Truth subtracts everything that isn't eternal, until only God remains. So what's really going on? A Course in Miracles tells us the ego is the belief in the mind that it is possible to be unfairly treated. Chapter 26, Section 10. Every label comes with a grievance, not always consciously. But deep down, every self-concept says, see me, acknowledge me, respect me, make me real. Because the ego desperately wants to be real. The transgender person and the bigot who attacks them, the asexual student and the priest who denies their place in church. They are not opposites. They are part of the same system. The system of body identity, of spiritual amnesia, of miscreation and fear. And they both need healing, not in form, but in mind. So what's the answer? The answer is never to attack. The answer is never to validate the illusion. The answer is forgiveness. Forgiveness, as A Course in Miracles teaches, is the recognition that what you thought your brother did to you has not occurred. Not because it didn't hurt in the dream, but because the dream itself is not true. True forgiveness means seeing past the labels. It means remembering the shared identity that cannot be divided. It means recognizing that you are not a body, and neither is anyone else. So what would happen if all the labels fell away? If no one needed to be seen, acknowledged, defended, or attacked? If there was no straight, no gay, no male, no female, no pronouns at all? Just light. Just love. Just the one that God created, still exactly as God created it. That is not erasure. That is resurrection. It's not invalidating the pain, it's ending it. Because the pain was never in the body. The pain was always in the belief. So if an alien landed here and saw LGBTQIA2S+, yeah, maybe they'd say, what in John Denver is going on? Or maybe they'd just say, more symbols of a forgotten self, dressed in costumes and crying for love. And if they were wise, they'd offer no opinion, only remembrance. Because all anyone ever wants is to remember the self that doesn't need a letter, because it never left God.